y'all? Welcome to Cooking with Quiana, the hip-shaking mama Lynell. Pull up, let's have a kiki. Today in my kitchen, I have a special treat for you. So you're gonna get a 2-for-1. You know, I'm always trying to keep you together on how to get things done more efficiently and effectively. So I've come to notice a lot of people don't know how to open champagne. And what is it? Champagne Summers, right? So if it's Champagne Summers, you gotta know how to pop a bottle, ladies. You can't just always be like, somebody help me. No. Let me teach you, okay? So you get your standard bottle of champagne. All of them are pretty universal, okay? They're gonna have this nice silver wrapper. I'm gonna take my little bar tool and pop this wrapper just open, okay? It just peels right off. It's foil, okay? Now this bottle has a plastic stopper. Some of them have a cork stopper. Doesn't matter, okay? My towel's on here. You can use a towel or not. I'm actually gonna take it out because this towel, I'm just trying to hide this brand. Hold your bottle, place your, oh, sorry. So we've got this is another part. You've got this nice little cage that holds your cork connected to it. So we're gonna untwist the cage until it's loose. Now the cage is gonna trap that cork, all right? So you can take your palm, place it on top of that cork, firmly hold the cork still, and we're gonna turn the bottle, okay? So this hand, my right hand is still, and I'm turning the bottle 3 times, that's it. The top keeps that cork right in your hand, okay? You might have to rewind that a couple of times. I'm gonna talk you through it. Unwind the cork, hold the cork still, turn with your left hand. Easy as pop, right, baby? Because listen, it's Champagne Summers. Why are we doing Champagne Summers, Quiana? Because, baby, I know you see it. We're trying to stay slick, okay? We're trying to stay slim, fine, a little thick in the little right places. And you do that by cutting out your sugar. Where's sugar hidden? In your alcohol. It is. So I'm going to do a little champagne instead of my liquor. How do I pour? Tilt that glass. Let it lean on the glass. Oh, I'm a little bubble heavy. I'm going to try again. Second time's a charm. Lean it on the glass. Let it flow down there. It makes the bubbles come less. All right. Cheers, y'all. You got to... Let me give you a toast. I'm not above you. I'm not below you. I'm right next to you, baby. Cheers. All right. Welcome to my kitchen. Let's pull into today's recipe. Today we have Southside seafood lasagna. Now, why is it called Southside, you may ask? Because your girl, can I tell you why it's called Southside? Because Louisiana's from the South. You know that Texas is the South. Mississippi is the South. Atlanta, Georgia is the South. And what we do? We do the South Side. The South Side. Yeah. Okay. That's enough of that. Okay, but we're having Southside seafood lasagna. Pull up, y'all. Let's get into it. So, our fresh ingredients. You know, I have your plethora of things today. Your list is pretty long today, I'm not going to lie. But once we get it all together, you know, lasagna is just compiling your ingredients and then baking it. So, we've got our pasta, all of our beautiful cheeses, spinach, some crab meat, some shrimp, onions, squash, celery, garlic over here. There's some ricotta cheese, my favorite Greek yogurt. You know, I'm sneaking some protein. We have our thickening agent and some regular heavy cream, all right? First thing we're gonna do, put your pasta to boil. Regular store lasagna, whatever you like to use, whatever brand you like to use. I'm not picky. You know, you can use a wheat pasta or something a little healthier, but today we're gonna counter our calories with our hidden vegetables, okay? So we're not worried about this. I'm gonna put your pasta on to boil. Got your stock pot here, nice boiling pasta. We'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, let's get into chopping these ingredients. All right, y'all, welcome back. We are now gonna get ready to process our vegetables, okay? So our vegetable that I'm gonna show you today, you know, I'm always trying to sneak in some extra veggies, especially when our recipe calls for a higher fat content, okay? What's our fat? See all this cheese? It tastes so good, but we have to counter these calories with some of this. It just makes me feel better, right? Like I don't feel bad for eating the cheesy goodness if it's got some good macros in it, okay? So this Southside seafood lasagna also has a powerful punch of veggies, okay? So I'm gonna take, this is a nice summer squash, a green zucchini, some people call it as well, okay? I've already washed that. Cut that tip off, and I'm gonna cut it in half long ways. I'm gonna quarter that again. Now I'm gonna make these pieces nice and small so that when I put them in my pot, they cook down. So it's gonna be almost like an onion or like another vegetable that is just inside the lasagna. And it's just some extra, you know, nutrients for your family. Okay, quarter those. I'm gonna cut that booty off of there too. That skin is not gonna bother you. You're gonna line those up, right? This is gonna make it really easy to just chop. Okay, a nice good knife, wrist work on 10. See how my hands are right out of the way though? You don't wanna put your fingers like this. My hands are here, my knife is working here, up, up. As you get to the end of your veggie, cup that hand, right? Keep those fingers out of the way just to keep the vegetables in line, right? We don't want to lose any hip shaking mama fingers. And then I'm actually just going to go through there and do a nice little fine chop because again, I don't particularly love squash. I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all, oh, I love all these vegetables. No, I have like texture issues and I don't always want to do the right thing either. But if it's small enough and it feels like a piece of meat, in my brain, it's a piece of meat, okay? All right, so I got my squash there. That's one squash. I am going to use some parsley, fresh parsley, right? Parsley comes in a bunch, okay? It's got the stalks and the leaves. I'm gonna cut off the end of those stalks. That goes in my trash. You don't wanna eat that. It's a little more bitter. And then I'm gonna cut this in half, stack it on top of each other, and just give it a nice fine chop. Recircle that. Notice my fingers are out of the way. Right? Put it back together, and we're gonna chop that a couple more times. It is important that you have a nice, sharp knife, okay? Why does Quiana take the time and process these vegetables? If you smell this right now, that's aromatherapy right there. Like it's literally helping me heal. Like my allergies have adjusted. Like I usually have a little nasal drip, a little tickle in the back of my throat. When you eat food like this, it naturally helps you stay well, okay? So put some herbs, some natural fresh ingredients in your diet. My garlic, I've already got it peeled. I'm gonna press it because this is also a nice, easy recipe, right? Once you get all of your ingredients processed, lasagna is like, it's the hardest thing about lasagna is getting everything ready to go in the pot. Because, bruh, you'd be like, okay, when I make my sauce, did I make my meat? Do I have my cheese? Okay, finally, I can put the puzzle together, okay? 2 cloves of garlic there. I've got a pound of shrimp. I've got about 12 ounces of fresh crab. And then mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese. That's Romano cheese also. And then I have my other cheeses here. Okay, so I've got my veggies cut. All right, here we go. So we have processed our vegetables. Next process we have is creating our cheese mixture, okay? So we have our ricotta cheese. I'm gonna add equal parts of Parmesan and the Romano, okay? And the mozzarella. So I'm gonna put equal parts mozzarella, the Parmesan, and the Romano. That's all going on top of my ricotta, right? Also in my ricotta, I'm going to add my parsley. Sorry, that's where that goes. And I'm gonna add half of my spinach, okay? I'm gonna take that and give it a nice fine chop. Your Q-tip for today is our favorite, we are sneaking in vegetables, okay? The smaller you chop, the less you know it's there. Is that spinach or parsley? We will never know. What's that green stuff, Mom? Something good for you, okay? Eat it. All right, I've got that nice and diced. I'm putting that in with my ricotta cheese. And then I'm gonna give that a stir. Checking my pasta over there. You know, your water has to boil. A good chef has her head on swivel, okay? You gotta always be looking at all the things. All right. Now, some of you may have never made lasagna at home, and this is one of the secret ingredients right here. This Parmesan and ricotta mixture just sets your lasagna to a whole nother level. Even if you're making traditional lasagna, try adding your ricotta cheese. Now, don't get it twisted. Y'all gonna think, oh, I'm coming to the hip shaking mama, you know, she's gonna help me get healthy, baby. I don't want to eat it if it don't taste good. Let's be clear. I'm not the kind of diet person that's like, oh, take all the flavor out of your food. Don't cook with any oil. No, that's not me. You cook with the best ingredients possible, right? You'll see me cooking with real butter. You'll see me cooking with real extra virgin olive oil. You'll see me, you know, I'm not going to use margarine. If you can use better ingredients, your body is going to process it a lot easier, okay? So try to stay on the outside of the aisles in your grocery stores when you go shopping. Shop on the outside aisles. That's the dairy section, your produce section, your meat section. That's all the perimeter of the grocery store. Anything in the middle, they trying to get you. Okay. All right. Again, lasagna is the processes. So I've got my cheese mixture there. I've got my vegetables chopped. Look at my kitchen. Okay, so we're gonna head to the stove and start making our sauce before we start compiling our lasagna. Pull up, y'all. What up, y'all? We're back at the stove. Okay, so we are here with our Southside seafood lasagna. Put our skillet on a nice medium-high heat. Hit that pan with some EVOO, you know, about 2 tablespoons. We're about to brown these vegetables. We've got all of our veggies cut up. Again, putting good in so we can get good out. I've got some red bell pepper, green onions, my parsley, my onion. And then I'm going to throw in my garlic as well, okay? I'm just taking that out my pan. Off my board. Those of you that know, I'm going to take my salt. Anytime you put that in your pan, put a little salt in your hand. This helps those vegetables start to wilt and release their juices, okay? It's going to take about 3 to 5 minutes. And we're going to let that cook. All right, so this is the base for our sauce for our lasagna, okay? So we want these vegetables to get nice and soft so that we don't have any of that in our mouth, like protruding when we chew, okay? I'm checking my noodles, right? They're rolling, the water is rolling. I want them to be nice and al dente. See those ridges? They're nice and thin, and they don't have to be all the way done because they are gonna cook some in the pan once we put this lasagna. Guess what? I forgot to tell you to turn your oven on because we're about to bake this and it needs to be preheated. We're gonna put that thing on 375. I'm glad you guys are keeping me together. Okay, my noodles are done. I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna take care of that in a minute. My veggies are nice and wilted, limp. Okay, now I'm gonna process my protein. Make sure there's no extra liquid in there. Okay, so I just took the water out of my shrimp because I didn't want that in there. Okay, I'm gonna toss my shrimp in that pan. I'm gonna also toss in now my dry seasonings, okay? Because I want that shrimp to get nice and flavorful. I'm just gonna toss that in there. You've got oregano, basil, garlic powder, onion powder, your Creole seasoning, and a little cayenne pepper, because you know it's your Southside seafood lasagna. Okay, toss that up in there. I know you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's so much seasoning. We are seasoning a sauce. Okay, so yes, it's coated. One of my favorite internet chefs says, if you're not sneezing, it ain't seasoned. So it should make your nose go, is there something in that pot? Yes. It's called flavor. It's called flavor. Okay. We're going to let that shrimp cook. I'm actually going to put in a dollop of butter because that's just going to help. We are making a cream sauce. You feel me? You feel me? We making a cream sauce. I'm going to put in, if you notice on your butter, it has all these nice little markings. When you're really counting your macros, you want to pay attention to that. Because this is where your extra calories slip into your meals, right? It's in your fats. Yes, butter feels good, but it is adding some extra things that I could have kind of did without, but I just like it, right? You like it. So I put in about a tablespoon and a half of butter. And that's just going to help my shrimp cook. That's going to take about 5 to 7 minutes for your shrimp to cook. Stick. This is a moment. If you're a hip shaking mama like me, you might grab your little glass, take a little sip, and then go clean your kitchen. Okay? Because you don't want to get your food done and not be able to go sit down with your family. Go clean your kitchen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this pasta. Got your beautiful colander here. Put that in your sink. Okay, I've got a rack in my sink that makes my colander sit nice and flat, right? Because it's sometimes your colander will be sitting like this and you're trying to pour your pasta, and that's not safe. So I have this nice little rack, keeps it stationary for me to drop that in there. I'm gonna grab my mittens. Hold my pot away from me, away from my body. Why is this important? You see that steam? It will take your lashes off. We need our lashes to stay on our face. Pot away from your body. Pour it in there. Watch that splash. You're going to immediately hit that with some cool water so that it stops cooking, okay? Cold water. And we're going to let that sit. All right. Come back over here to this pot. Toss my veggies around, my shrimp around. Your shrimp have turned from a gray to a pink on one side, right? I know it's looking real meaty, okay? Now what I'm actually gonna do, these shrimp are huge. I'm just gonna take my knife in here and give them a little separation because I don't want you like not having shrimp in your bite. Now I could have cut this before I put it in there, but I'm a hip shaking mama, not a chef, okay? Sometimes I change my mind in the middle of my recipe, like, oh, let me try that. Yeah, I forgot, you know, and you in my kitchen, okay? So I don't talk about me in the comments. I don't mind, okay? And I'm just having these shrimp so that when I take a bite of my lasagna, I have a bite of meat. More times than not, right? Isn't that more fun when you have a piece of meat in your bite than when you don't? I don't know. I like my gumbo. Like, don't you like pull your spoons up? Or maybe that's just me. You don't do that? I don't know. Okay. My shrimp is done. We are making sauce. I'm going to hit this sauce with my half and half. No, heavy cream. That's heavy cream. Put that in there. Why first? You do not want to burn your cheese. Okay? If you put your cheese in without a liquid, it will burn. Don't burn your cheese. This is my mozzarella, some Romano. That's going in my sauce. I'm going to take my pot, pop that heat on high. Olive oil. Let it get hot first because this squash needs to soften, okay? So let me just stir my sauce here. I'm also going to add in my Q-tip for today is my extra protein. Extra protein. This is your secret ingredient for all of your recipes, right? Whenever you're using anything creamy, anything white, think, can I add some Greek yogurt? Because immediately you're going to get 25 grams of protein for every third of a cup, okay? That just takes your recipe to a whole nother level, okay? So this is a cream sauce. Greek yogurt is a creamy substance that takes the flavor of whatever you have in there. So I don't have to put as much cheese, as much heavy cream. That is going to extend my sauce, right? Let me take my tongs out and give it a nice whisking, like a proper chef. All right, whisk that around. That is nice and thick. You feel me? And we are almost ready to compose our lasagna. Look at that. The stove is hot and ready to receive. Now that that's good, I'm also going to take a moment, toss in my crab. This does not have to cook very long. Just toss that in. That's a lot of crab. It's a lot of crab. Toss that in. Give it a nice folding, okay? Folding. See, look at all those. Look at that flavor. That's going to be all over those noodles and in your belly. All right, and then we're going to add about a cup of 2% milk. Add our 2% milk. And that's just going to give our sauce thin it out a little bit so we can spread it in our lasagna. We're going to let this cook together for about 10-15 minutes. It doesn't take long. Everything that you put in your pot needs to be like flavored, you know? Like, don't just throw stuff in your pan. You'll tell the difference. I promise. You'll be like, wow, this tastes like I just threw something in the pan. Who wants to eat that? Your family will thank you. My spinach, tossing that in there. It does not take long. Okay? And then I'm going to incorporate that in my sauce. This is so cheesy. Southside seafood lasagna, baby. It's about to swap. Better ask somebody. It is hip, shaking, mama approved. Okay. I'm going to take these vegetables now. They are nice and cooked. Slide that into that sauce. I'm making a mess. Baby. So I can be nice and healthy. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to his mom. You got a hip shaking mama. I could tell. I could tell. You want to be nice and healthy, okay? Do y'all see that sauce? Listen, what did we talk? Our Q-tip for today was when we know we have a high fat content, what are we gonna do? Sneak in some vegetables. Okay, we're gonna take this, our noodles and our cheese mixture, and we're gonna head to combine this in our pan. Y'all ready? Pull up. Pull up. So we are here and we're ready to put our lasagna together. All right. Take yourself a pan. I'm using a disposable pan just for the show, but if you had a glass pan, whatever size, look, they have lasagna pans. Spray that pan, right, with some non-stick spray because we don't want our lasagna sticking to this pan. Okay. You're going to put a nice thin layer of your sauce on the bottom of your pan. Thin means don't waste your sauce under the noodles, but you do need to put a little sauce under the noodles, okay? Let's take that. And then we're going to layer the products. So we start with your nice chilled lasagna noodles. We're gonna put 3 on the bottom. They may be a little long. I'm just gonna flop them over, okay? Then I'm gonna put a dollop of my ricotta mixture. We're gonna make little, I have a nice little spoon here, a little teaspoon. I'm putting like 4 little, I'm gonna do 3 in this pan. Actually, I'm just gonna spread it because I love ricotta cheese. Start with 3 little dollops on each row. You want to think about how long this has to last you, right? So you don't want to use it all on your first layer because you're layering, okay? I've got my dollops of ricotta. Spread that out. And then I'm going to come here with my seafood sauce. You see that sauce, baby? Now, don't get too excited. It's lasagna, so they're going to be layers on top of each other. So when you're putting your sauce, it's important. Don't put your whole pan on your first layer. You're not going to have nothing to go on the top layer, right? I'm glad I cut the shrimp up because then we have shrimp all through this layer, right? Last step, put your mozzarella, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, Quiana. Yes, oh my gosh. Layer, and I'm gonna hit again with my sauce. Again, like I said, the longest part of making your lasagna is getting all your ingredients in the pan. Once you've got it cooked, we're just putting it all together. Lasagna covered with my cheese here, and I'm gonna cover that with some foil before we pop that right in the oven. Baby, baby, it's going right in the oven for 30 minutes. Whew. The weight of that pan, baby, she thick, you feel me? She's so solid. Woo. She thick. We put that whole bottle of crab. It's about to be busting. Come on, him shaking out. Where you at? You better pull up to the stove. Okay, my bad. CPE. Let the door down nice and gentle. All right, y'all. So our lasagna has been cooking for about 35 minutes, okay? And I'm going to peel that foil off, right? Because we want to let this cheese get brown, all right? Look at that girl. Woo! Don't she look sexy? Slide that back in there for another 15 minutes to let it brown. All right, y'all, pull up. Let's have a little pillow talk. We about to have a kiki, okay? So I'm here at my table. I've made my beautiful Southside seafood lasagna. Now, we already talked about that this dish it does have a high quality of fat, okay? So let's think about our portions. How are we gonna eat this? My family's gonna eat this food, okay? It's bussin'. Take my knife here. We let this lasagna sit after I took it out the oven. You want to let it sit for about another 30 minutes so that the cheese comes together. Woo! Woo! Baby. Listen, I love a corner. All right? Oh. Oh. Let's see if she gonna act right. When I say if she gonna act right, ooh, look at her. Bow, bow, bow. Baby, that's a not. I'm gonna get all of that. That's all for me. You feel me? This is mine right here. All right. So this is our slamming Southside seafood lasagna. We've got sneaky vegetables in here. That's spinach, shrimp, extra protein with the crab. Like the amount of protein that's in here, seafood is really a high punch for protein, right? Between the crab and the shrimp, do your macros, baby. Let's get into this bite. I want some of this crusty cheese there. Those noodles are nice and firm. I can still cut them. Now that I'm looking, oh, it's just got a nice spice. There's even zucchini in here, remember? Baby, I don't even feel bad about this cheese. I don't even feel bad about this cheese. Let me tell you something. You don't even feel bad about the cheese because I'm eating the whole salad with my cheese. All right, y'all. Pull up. Let's have a kiki. We're cooking with Quiana. I need you to go over and like, comment, subscribe, and share it with somebody that you know and love. Once you try this recipe, tell me how it made you feel. Tell me how it made you feel. Now, honestly, you don't want to cook this if you're on a diet plan. All right, actually, let me change our words. If you're on a restricted caloric diet, this may not be what you want to eat. But every now and then, you need to cook for your family. Make it feel like this is comfort food that's not like killing you. This is amazing. Try it out. Y'all tell me how you feel. Pull up, y'all. Sitting in the corner, got something on my mind. I wanna tell you a story, baby. Sit down, baby. You're gonna need some time for this one. Would you please come walk my way? I'd look right at you and say, there's something you got, baby, come and twiddly diddly me, yeah. Just like that, baby. Just like that, daddy. Just like that.